It's how we do it. We've got the 5W2H process. Who, where, what, where, when, etc. How much, okay? Then we do it. So how do we implement this? So we may have micro plans attached to the plan. Then how we monitor that? So we've got KPIs that we set up. And once we've got KPIs, it's nice. But once we have the KPIs, the leading indicators, the lagging indicators, it's important to analyze the results. If you have the beautiful list like this with your KPIs, nice. So what? What do we do with that? So we do what we call an analysis of the variances. Variances, I expect to do 100 and I do 120, or I do 80. There is a variance of 20. So why is this variance there? And what can I do to make it match the objective next month? Or do I have to adjust the objective? And once I've done my check, which is my monitoring system, it's important for me to act. So we need to change something or not. If it works, don't change it. You may improve it a bit, but don't change for the fun of changing. How do we change? Redesign the plan, act on the variances, and if it really doesn't work, what is plan B, contingency plan? So that's a very good thing to memorize, to keep in your mind for the future, for the future plans. Now, before we move to the bits and pieces, I'd like to give a bit of a clue on the other option, which is not the competitive advantage option, which is the blue ocean thing. These guys, and this is the book that I had this morning here, you can buy it, and I have no commission on that. If I had commission, I would not let you know anyway. This book is for sale at Kinokuniya, and this is the very last version. It was published last year, and it's quite readable. It's interesting. It's quite interesting in terms of strategy, but it's a bit one-sided. It says that they are the best, they are good, but the other Kaplan is not stupid too. So don't think that this is the solution for everyone. They present themselves as the opposition to competitive advantage, and they think that competing is negative. They think it's a zero-sum game in terms of game theory. They think that if we are only competing, this is going to be the red ocean full of blood. We are going to swim with the sharks, and the stronger shark is going to win. So they suggest this.
From an early age, you were taught to compete. You competed in school. You competed in sports. You competed for your first job. And you kept competing as you worked your way up the ladder. Now, you crunch numbers, fight for market share, and strive to beat competitors in your industry. But it's a zero-sum game. When one wins, another loses. As your industry becomes crowded and competition intensifies, your ocean becomes red. So, you can either try and compete a bit harder, or you can think different. Apple thought different and created new market space. New market space that we now almost all take for granted. But it's not just Apple. Over a century ago, Henry Ford created the mass market auto industry. More recently, there's Salesforce.com, Uber, Cirque du Soleil, NetJets, Alibaba, and many others. Of course, competition isn't wrong. It's just that by now you know how to do it. So does your business. So does the rest of your industry. What if you could create instead of compete? What if, instead of fighting for market share, you could make the competition irrelevant? Blue Ocean Strategy teaches you how to think different, how to look at your industry from a brand new perspective, how to break out of conventional boundaries and challenge the status quo. You've spent your whole life learning to be competitive. It's time to learn creativity. Creativity that unlocks new oceans of strong, profitable growth. With Blue Ocean Strategy tools and frameworks, you can. Are you ready?
I will give a few hints on the blue strategy so that you, again, if you can read that book, that's fine, but I think you've got plenty of books to read, so you may not have time to read that within the next 2 weeks. But in the future, yes, better do that. Okay, what they think is that most companies want to reduce costs and increase value. What they think is that you can do this without blood by eliminating what everybody is doing and reducing the elements that are not very, which are not absolutely indispensable in your product. And they believe that to increase the buyer's value, you've got to raise new ideas and create new ideas and raise the value. So the value innovation, if you deal with your costs by eliminating things that nobody uses and create new things, then you create a new product. And they give examples. I will get to the examples later. So once you've done this, they have the second thing is we compare what is the outcome. They say we compete in an existing marketplace, and here we create a new market space. We create a new product. For example, when Apple announced the iPhone, that was a revolution. There was nothing like iPhone. And they said, we're going to come with a new iPad. Oh, yeah, fine. People say, well, another iPad, so what? iPad 1, iPad 2, iPad 3. No, that was not iPad. That was, the iPod. And this new iPod came as a phone pod, and they call that iPhone. And people say, wow, that's nice. And it was a hit. No one was on this market. Of course, the other have been catching up quickly. But the moment Samsung and the other came with the equivalent of iPhone, we were already at iPhone 3, iPhone 4, iPhone 5. Maybe iPhone 3, yes. So for a certain moment of time, there was an uncontested market space. The only guys that were able to compete were the Canadian, that was, the fruit.
Research in motion. BlackBerry.
The BlackBerry, yeah, that crashed for other reasons. They could have made it, but they had problems and they could not control the technology. That's why they lost. So instead of beating the competition, they make the competition irrelevant. And here, the red ocean, you have a demand. Here, you create a new demand. You attack a certain level of clients that were not your clients. They were not interested. They give the example of Callaway. You know Callaway? Who is golfing here? Nobody's golfing?
No, Callaway.
Okay, Callaway is a brand of golf clubs. When people used to play golf, and they say it's difficult to play golf for the non-golfer because you've got to hit a stupid little ball with a little piece of metal that big. So Callaway tried to contact a different customer base, and people say, no, golf is too difficult. So Callaway could not go on the tennis market because tennis people are keen to go to golf. Paradon, for example, the Thai champion, is moving from tennis to golf now because that's same kind of philosophy or, high society sport. And Callaway decided to make a big head of a club. They call that Big Bertha. Big Bertha was the guy from the German during the war, First World War. And it was making easier for many golfers, for starters, to hit the ball, because if you want to hit the ball like this with a blade like that, it's difficult. You may miss it, or you may send it here or there. With a Big Bertha, yeah, if you miss it, that's your very, very bad. It made the sport easier. So a lot of people decided to buy that. The professionals say, what is this crap? But more and more they come to that. So what they did is, with this innovation, they drew new customers, people that were not in the circle of customers, they drew them in and increased the market. Of course, the other manufacturers followed, but it took them a bit of time. Everyone said, this thing will never work. It worked. So create and capture a new demand. Value cost trade-off. you break the value cost. Value cost is, they are not friends. If I want to increase the value, I increase the cost. If I decrease the cost, my value may decrease as well, unless I can outsource that to China or somewhere else. Here, because there is no competition, I don't care. Okay, and align this, the whole system on strategic choice of differentiation or low cost. Here, my activity is my activity. Low cost of the low cost configuration doesn't make sense. So what they do is they went through a system of grid, like I said last time for those who were here. Strategists like to put things in boxes to get out of the box as soon as possible. So eliminate. Okay, that was a winemaker. Have you seen this? Is an Australian wine. This is the kangaroo with the yellow tail. What is the name of this thing? Well, that's a brand of wine that is made in Australia, and they found out that in the US, the market for wine is huge, but a lot of people prefer to go for beer. And they said, why do people go for beer when wine is probably better for the health? And they found out that there was a certain number of reasons why the population not going for wine did not go for wine, because they did not know. And they didn't want to know. And they created a curve like this. They say, this is, for example, here, yeah, that's the one. You've got a high level of knowledge about the vocabulary. You know, if you look at wine, people have a jargon about wine. It's quite complicated. The marketing is quite high. The wine, if it's a good French wine, a good Italian wine, or even Californian wine, you have to wait for a few years, keep the wine in good conditions so that it's getting better, get better and better. You've got the prestige from the vineyards, etc., etc. Wine is a complex mix, and wine range is heavy. Now, you had the low quality wine that was, we didn't need all that thing, and low quality wine is where?
But you want us in the red, right?
Yeah, I think the new one is here. The low quality wine is here. You have all this thing is, we don't really care. It's easy drinking. It's ease of selection because it's quite poor. No, this is a new wine. All right. So the low quality wine was still complicated to understand. Poor marketing, not so good marketing. Quality of aging quite low because we don't really care about that. No, the prestige is still there because wine is a prestigious beverage. Complexity is still high, but lower than that. And what they created is a new product that was based on two wines, a white, a red. Same bottle. Cost of production is very low. And only one mix, a Chardonnay in the white and Shiraz in the red. Very easy. They suppress completely the use of technology in the wine of knowledge. Say that's Shiraz. Well, that's red or white. The bottle, same, except one is red, one is white. Makes the choice easy. The brand is the same. And all the things here were low, but very easy to drink. Very easy to select because only white or red. And quite fun because that's an Australian wine. When they started that in the US, people say, "Wow, I drink kangaroo." Yeah, that's what they said because the logo was kangaroo. And the price was almost a little bit between the low and the high range of wine, and they made a crack, and nobody's been catching them since then. You find this one here in Thailand. It's a bit over the average, the low price, but it's still a decent price to buy this one. It's a yellowtail, I think, yellowtail wine. So that's an example. So what they did here is they say that you've got to eliminate, trace, reduce, and create. So what it did is it eliminated the terminology and distinction. they eliminated the concept of aging qualities. They say, well, our wine is that, end of the story. You drink it now or next year. We even don't put the year of manufacture on that. And they just do a regular marketing, from this thing. They reduce the wine complexity by making only one kind of grape. The wine range is red or white, not complicated. And the vineyard is wine from Australia, end of the story. Wine from Australia can be from a lot of places that you know, Victoria, Adelaide, well, all these things. So then they raised the price a bit, over the budget price, because they could afford that, but much lower than the high quality wine. And they involved a lot of retailers in this. That was easy for the retailers because they had two bottles, red wine, red white, red white, how we made it. And they created an easy to drink concept, easy to select, and it's quite fun. And when you have the image of Australia in middle of America, well, you think about adventure, kangaroos, snakes, crocodiles, and stuff. So that's the way they did it. And it worked. But they did that because they used this concept of blue ocean. Now, I don't know if they used the concept of blue ocean or if the blue ocean guys decided that, hey, yes, that's my concept. Chicken and the egg, yeah? Okay, so that's why I'm very careful with this kind of books. These guys analyze this very well, and this is probably what happened. Now, what they say is you've got 6 processes to do that, and you've got to look at your industry, and are you in the industry, or can you change in the industry? Look at your strategic groups with almost the same as industry. Look at your buyers. Who are my buyers? For the wine thing, they were not attacking the wine buyers, they were attacking the beer buyers. Said these guys drink alcohol, they drink beer, let's move them to the wine that will satisfy the taste for adventure or for fun. You go in a pub, can I have a glass of red? This red. You know, you don't say, can I have a glass of Bordeaux year 2000? No. Say, I want a glass of red. That's what we do. Okay, you get a glass of red, easy. So they changed the group. Instead of, can I have a pint of beer? I want a glass of red. Okay. They look at the different kind of services. Where do we deliver this wine? They look across the emotional orientation of people. And of course, they look across time, how to handle this strategy over time. A few concepts like that. But for me, and like many people, and this is a movie that you have, I'm not sure I'm going to play this movie, it's in your references. So maybe, did you look at this movie? Okay, so we would look at it. We believe, people like me, that even if you do the blue ocean thing, you still need to do your competitive advantage analysis. If these guys do that, it's because they've been doing this analysis, the value chain, the competitive advantage, and all that thing. You can't say, everybody cannot say, I'm going to innovate, I'm going to do things that nobody's doing. We are all business people. Not everybody can find a new product to innovate. Shopping centers are here. Okay, we create new shopping centers. Are they stupid? No, they make money. They compete. So competition is not something that is going to disappear. And at a certain level of the industry, if you look at iPhone, iPad, now you go to shopping centers and you've got iPhone, iPad competing with Samsung, competing with Lenovo, competing with everyone. So at a certain moment, even the most innovative thing will find competition. So these two things have to work together. We can say that blue ocean is nice. It's nice, yes, nice in universities. But it works for a certain period of time. Now, if you start something on the blue ocean idea, soon you will be in competition again. So you've got to re-innovate. That's fun. But not everybody is Steve Jobs. Now that Steve Jobs is dead, Mac is still okay, but it's not as innovative as it used to be. Let's watch this little one. So let's watch this table 1.
Today we're going to consider, should you go out into the deep blue ocean or should you battle with the 5 forces? And we're not talking about sailing here, we're talking about business strategy. Now we've got some interesting research findings on this, and in the studio today we've got Andrew Berg to discuss this. Now Andrew, what have you found?
Well, the first thing to notice here is that these aren't 2 theories. Essentially, both schools of thought feed off exactly the same model. And what's different here is what they think is happening out there in the real world. The proponents of competitive strategy, largely going back to Porter, take the view that competition is the main issue that senior business managers ought to be addressing. That's the main challenge facing organizations. Whereas proponents of the Blue Ocean strategy take the view that innovation that creates new market space, that taps into unsatisfied consumer demand, that finds uncontested market space, is in fact the right strategy. And if you pursue that strategy, then competition can become quite irrelevant.
Now, Blue Ocean Strategies had a lot of enthusiasts, and people like Starbucks and Dell have been cited as examples of where you can get into territory that is uncontested and it's great. Now, you've had a close look at this in practice, haven't you?
Yes, it was a joint research with Erasmus University in Rotterdam and EIM. And we decided to take a look at a market where both schools of thought had a reasonable chance of prevailing. So we took a look at the retail sector. And what we basically found in the retail sector is that to some extent, neither school are correct on this issue. So let me deal first of all with the competitive strategy. If competitive strategy is right, then in the long term, there should be a negative relationship between the number of firms in an industry and the profit levels. Essentially, that's the essence of the 5 forces. The more firms you have in there competing, then the lower the profitability. What we find is that in the long run, yeah, that's true, but it's actually quite a weak force. Put differently, it takes about 15 years for an industry to push an innovation's profits back down to a very basic level. So what that means is that the gains from innovation in an existing market are quite a lot more than previously supposed.
So the implications of that is pay attention to existing markets, squeeze the best out of that, and that can be pretty profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, what we find is that in relation to the retail sector, is that as the number of firms have come into the market, the market has actually expanded, and this tells you that these firms can't be just fulfilling a competition role. They're clearly fulfilling an entrepreneurial role in bringing innovation into the market, expanding the market in the process by drawing in more consumer expenditure and so on.
So Andrew, where does that leave Blue Ocean Strategy? On the face of it, it sounds terribly attractive.
The results provide some partial support for Blue Ocean Strategy, particularly in relation to the role of competition, which, as I mentioned, we found it not to be as strong as previously imagined, and of course the role of innovation. But right at the core of Blue Ocean Strategy is this view that you should find new market space and pioneer new markets. And in relation to that, and not just in terms of this study, but in terms of other research that I've done in relation to that, is that you can actually see that in terms of pioneering new markets, it's often the followers that actually cash in terms of that form of strategy. I think Microsoft in relation to the computer interface, iTunes in relation to portable music and so on. And these companies were essentially followers and employed adaptive innovation in terms of these new markets. And I think therefore that puts a major question mark over Blue Ocean Strategy, is that yes, you do want to find new untapped market space, but do you want to be the pioneer in that market? Well, it's not so clear. In relation to this particular study about looking at the retail sector, well, predominantly this is about an existing market rather than a new market. And as you rightly point out, there's companies within that with Renew and so on. But if you look across the piece, and you can find the exceptions like Starbucks, but most of these firms are innovating at incremental stages, not huge, big, radical changes. And it's the net effect of that, the aggregating all up, that leads to this positive effect. So the message is quite different in terms of Blue Ocean strategy.
So give me a clear message that business managers can take away.
Well, what the results indicate is that there are a lot more opportunities in existing markets than previously thought. I mean, most of the kind of exciting sort of business press covers, new industries and fast-growing markets and so on. But what this study clearly shows is that innovating in existing markets is quite an effective strategy. That competition is a much weaker force in terms of eroding the benefits from that form of innovation. And thirdly, the type of innovation that you need to look at doesn't have to be the big radical revolutionary type of innovation. It's more incremental, adaptive, and edging your way forward in the market.
That's very clear. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.
So you've got this clip on your material. Well, the reference of this clip on your material. So is this clear for everyone? The two kind of approaches, the 5 forces and the Blue Ocean. I had an argument with one of my clients. He's working in that. This used to be a Scandinavian company. They were making painting for this kind of stuff. Their first client is IKEA, and they have been bought by a big American company called Sherwin-Williams, one of the top 100 in the US. And I was delivering a workshop about the matrix management, the vertical horizontal thing. And when I presented the 5 forces, the head of the Vietnamese operation said, "Didier, your model is old-fashioned. Now we've got the Blue Ocean strategy." And then I said, well, what are they doing? And I found out that exactly what these guys say, that it's a mix. Today we have, if we want to grow our business, we need to think about the 5 forces before we start to do anything, because this is the picture we have. The Blue Ocean is that may be a leading thing. It's not a lagging thing. The 5 forces is typical of what we have. This is the mapping of the situation. It's a picture. Once we've got this thing, we decide that it's enough, and we know that we are well positioned to make a move and develop a strategy for developing the company, the product, whatever. Or we can put a little bit of Blue Ocean in there, innovating, getting into a new market. So there is no 100% good option. That's a mix of the two. Okay, let's get to a little bit more things. I'd like to do a bit of strategy analysis, because that's going to be useful for you in your exam. And strategy analysis is that your strategy and your strategic plan are not the same. We said that this morning, but your strategy shows in your strategic plan. Because when you talk to the banker, he's in front of you, but we need a paper. And when you left back home, what remains is not you or the movie, it's the paper. So you must translate your thoughts into the right document, or set of documents. Be careful with the terminology here. Strategic plan, that's a big fussy thing, but most people say business plan. What is the business plan? That's a vague thing. Business plan is a set of plans, starting with the strategy, going to the operation. That's all the cascade of plans. That's terminology thing. So people say, no, I'm not doing business plan, I'm doing strategic plan. Wow, well done. That's the same. Okay, don't be impressed by this. The jargon is always terrible. First thing you need to put together before you write your business plan or your strategic plan is, what are my objectives, my strategic objectives? In other words, what are the objectives that I will put into my plan for the next 5-10 years? That's the first thing you have to address. Because if you don't have any objective, just go home, play golf, play tennis, go to the swimming pool, stop doing that. That will be irrelevant. And I give you examples. And this is, I think, from Strategy in Action. I think it's in your book, but I simplified it. Because they are, you know, these slides are too much blah, 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 blah. So I try to make it more clear by, okay, provide direction by revealing your expectations. So this is leading objective and leading indicators. Allow synergy. How can we work with others? This is where you need to talk about your supply chain. Don't say you're going to do everything. If you say I'm going to do computers, don't say you're going to do everything, because you have chips in there that you will never be able to do. So you will need suppliers, you will need contractors, you will need partners. If you have a strategic plan, it's because you want your company, your organization to be evaluated, audited. So you have to create standards or establish the standards that you've been using for your KPIs and your objectives. Once you've got objectives, remember we have to grade the objective. That's my mini scorecard thing, the scorecard made in GDA. Establish priorities. What is my objective? 70%, 30%, 20%, 10%. Then reduce uncertainty. Bankers and fundraisers and sponsors do not like uncertainty. So don't say, we are going to attack the Thai market because there is 70 million people, or maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, and they will buy a lot. Nice. But I'm not going to finance you with that. That's too uncertain. Yes, but the market, don't put assumptions. Put things that are checked, verifiable, and solidly established. People don't like to subsidize business that is going to look like Muay Thai. If you say, I'm going to kill the competition, nice, not with me, because there will be blood. And if you fight too hard, you will have blood too. You're going to lose energy, you're going to lose money. Don't start on a fighting mode. I don't know what is exertion. What is exertion?
Exertion is to get tired. Exertion is to
Push yourself.
push to use energy to push forward.
Okay, so push forward.
Exert yourself. Yeah, exert is
Exert.
to use it, like to do more. Yeah.
Do more.
Do
Be
more.
energetic. Okay. Again, here comes number 8, but could be earlier. We've got to be clear about the allocation, identification, and allocation of resources. We also need to address not the organigram, the things, we may need that, that's coming later. We need to design the jobs. What kind of jobs shall we have in our organization? I'm going to have a designer. I'm going to have a marketing. I'm going to have a sales. I'm going to have a production. I'm going to have a financial. I'm going to outsource HR. I'm going to outsource accounting. Well, we need to give an idea to the people who are going to evaluate our organization about what kind of jobs we are going to create or to establish in the organization, because the best organization is always relying on the people. An organization is made of people. And you can make miracles with crappy equipment, and you can make a disaster with fantastic equipment if you don't have the right people. And of course, provide basis for consistent decision making by the people who are going to decide to join you or not to join you. So that's easy to say, but we have some other elements. What are the drivers in your organization? be very careful that some companies are led by experts. And I've seen a lot of companies going fast to crash, because they chose the wrong CEO. You have some people, and in this company, you've got a director, a CEO, and he's going to retire, and you have 5 potential successors: commercial director, the production director, the supply chain director, and the financial director. And these guys, they fight. Of course they fight, because there is one job to take. Now, who is going to take the leadership? And depending on who is taking the leadership, the nature and the culture of the company is going to change dramatically. If this is the financial director taking over, you can be sure that the KPIs will be very much on finance. If this is a sales director that's going to take over, you can be sure that the production director will not be happy, and the financial director is not going to be happy too, because everything will be on sales. And production is going to have a hard time, etc., etc. So what we need to know is, who are the drivers? And is finance the only driver in the company? Of course we need to make money, but is this the only driver? Let's listen to that.
This is really a 2-hour presentation I give to high school students, cut down to 3 minutes. And it all started one day on a plane on my way to TED, 7 years ago. And in the seat next to me was a high school student, a teenager, and she came from a really poor family. And she wanted to make something of her life. And she asked me a simple little question. She said, "What leads to success?" And I felt really badly because I couldn't give her a good answer. So I get off the plane and I come to TED. And I think, geez, I'm in the middle of a room of successful people. So why don't I ask them what helped them succeed and pass it on to kids? So here we are, 7 years, 500 interviews later, and I'm going to tell you what really leads to success and makes Tedsters tick. And the first thing is passion. Freeman Thomas says, "I'm driven by my passion." Tedsters do it for love, they don't do it for money. Carol Coletta says, "I would pay someone to do what I do." And the interesting thing is, if you do it for love, the money comes anyway. Work. Rupert Murdoch said to me, "It's all hard work. Nothing comes easily, but I have a lot of fun." Did he say fun, Rupert? Yes. Tedsters do have fun working, and they work hard. I figure they're not workaholics, they're workaholics. Good. Alice Garden says, "To be successful, put your nose down in something and get damn good at it." There's no magic, it's practice, practice, practice. And it's focus. Norman Jewison said to me, "I think it all has to do with focusing yourself on one thing." And push. David Gallo says, "Push yourself. Physically, mentally, you've got to push, push, push. You got to push through shyness and self-doubt." Goldie Hawn says, "I always had self-doubts. I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I didn't think I'd make it." Now, it's not always easy to push yourself, and that's why they invented mothers. Frank Gehry said to me, "My mother pushed me." Serve. Sherwin Newland says it was a privilege to serve as a doctor. Now, a lot of kids tell me they want to be millionaires, and the first thing I say to them is, okay, well, you can't serve yourself. You got to serve others something of value, because that's the way people really get rich. Ideas. Tedster Bill Gates says, "I had an idea." Founding the first microcomputer software company. I'd say it was a pretty good idea. And there's no magic to creativity and coming up with ideas. It's just doing some very simple things. And I give lots of evidence. Persist. Joe Kraus says persistence is the #1 reason for our success. You got to persist through failure. You got to persist through crap, which of course means criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. So the answer to this question is simple. Pay $4,000 and come to TED. Or failing that, do the 8 things, and trust me, these are the big 8 things that lead to success. Thank you, Tedsters, for all your input.
Why? Why did I show this thing to you? Because we need to know what is the driver and who is the driver. What is the driver of your business and who is the driver of your business? You are the driver of your business because you are the CEO, you are the creator, you are the entrepreneur, and the concept of your school is your idea, and you build this according to your 8 things, probably passion, etc., etc. Now, what is the driver for you? It can be very different, whether you're coming from the educational world, or from the finance world, or from a different technical world. So the driver may be, you may have 1 or 2 or 3 drivers. One of the drivers is finance. For sure, you cannot do business if you lose money. So you look at that. But is this the only driver? Is the company going to survive only because it makes money? Maybe on a short term.
Other things linked to that. If you provide a good product, good service, you'll get the financial rewards anyway.
Exactly. That's where, I mean, the driver is there. You exactly named it. Because if you just think the money is the driver, your client's going to run away from you. Everybody accepts to pay the right price. If the product is good, if the service is good, if the customer attitude is good. So we have to be careful when we select the new CEO or when we become the new CEO, that if I am a financial or a lawyer, I used to be a lawyer, if I come to the head of central world, I need to learn about the others. If I become an entrepreneur, which I am already, I have to look at what the others do. Because if I come with my ego and say, it's going to be my way, because I know I'm right that I will crash, that's for sure. So this is where we need to identify what driver is and who the driver is. Okay, now let's look at a typical strategic plan. And we are in the middle of your paper. Okay, that's based on page 83 of Blue Ocean, and I found this summarized one page, which was quite interesting. I say that a good strategic plan starts, or strategic plan typical, starts with a description of industry conditions and competitive situation. Of course, the Blue Ocean people will say don't do that. But for me, it makes sense. What is the picture? Do you agree? Does it make sense? You can't see a banker or a future shareholder and say, trust me, I will do something nice. You would say, what are you talking about? Then you need to discuss about how to increase the market share, how to develop new segment of your business, and how to cut or reduce costs. Blue Ocean say don't do that, but I believe it still makes sense. Then once we've got this description, which is the big picture of what we're going to do, then we have to outline the goals and initiatives. How are we going to set up the goals? How are we going to increase our market share? This is how we do it. And then we add up financial terms, and we measure all that with graph and spreadsheets. Be very careful not to be excessive on that, and you will see very soon why you should not say everything. Does it make sense? To me, if I have something that looks like that, I have probably that's what I call the detailed outcome of my strategic plan. Once I have identified that, I just say, okay, it's going to be page 1. That's going to be page 2 to page 10. That's going to be page 11. And that's going to be financial part, 3 pages. Funny, yeah, it's not far from you. How many words? 3,000? 4,000? That's probably what you need to do. Now, we may go a little bit deeper in that.
Actually, you mentioned something before we started with. You said that this is just a fancy term. This is actually business plan.
This is, yeah, strategic or business plan, to me, is the same. But people in the industry say, I'm doing strategy. People don't do any business anymore, they do strategy. You know? Yeah, actually, we all do the same, right? Ketchup is made of tomato also. Huh? Before we called that tomato sauce, now we call that ketchup. Okay, bit different, but same but different. Are we okay on this? Let's be a bit more detailed. That's what we need to do. That makes sense. We start with the executive summary. So the source of this is coming from Flavy.com. I bought that, but it's free for you. Executive summary is the first page. Most of the time, people will read only the executive summary. So in the executive summary, make sure you got all the important keywords. So we talked about keywords this morning, and we are happy to have a linguist with us to explain to us what the keywords is about. Keywords are the words people will remember. Then you have a lot of things to talk about. What are your products and services? What are you going to sell? Give details, but not too many, especially if you are on the creation, because if you are a startup, the banker or the people you talk to, they like your idea so much that they will do the same. I know people who did that. So describe your product and services. Again, keywords, but clear, but not too detailed. People will not like to have too much details. Who is going to be your management team? Don't talk about the organigram. You are not there yet. You may put the quick organigram, horizontal, vertical, say I'm going to have this, but what is more important is, who are the guys who are going to work with you? I'm going to have I'm going to design a new tennis racket, and Mr. Paradon is going to be my technical director. This guy knows about racket, huh? He's been playing with some of them. He probably crushed a few of them. Yeah, it could be a good idea, but maybe too expensive. So put names here. My management team is, a team is not an organigram. A team is a bunch of people. So what is the market today? Who are my competitors? Here you go with a bit of 5 forces. 5 forces analysis from Porter. Then you explain how you are going to develop your marketing and your sales. Because I'm going to do marketing and sales. Yes, fine. What is marketing? What is sales? What is the difference? Are you going to go through an agency to do that? We know a lot of agencies doing marketing. But are these marketing firms doing your sales? Or are they charging you a lot to make movies and to do a lot of funny things like publishing in newspapers and charging you to be in Bank of Post, and next week you still have no clients? So marketing and sales man is important. Again, like with the product and service, don't overdo it, because you don't need to say everything. Business system, that's what I called earlier your business model. How you make money. That's the operational part. What is important for a banker, for a partner, for a shareholder, for a stakeholder, is to know how you make money. I sell this is the point of delivery, this is my guarantee period, this is my time for delivery, this is the support I give. What is integration of product, service, and marketing and sales? How we do it. This is the how. This is the what. This is the how. Now, you go to more details. And because we are on the big picture, we know that we have to cascade. So we develop some implementation plans. So we've got a financial plan, we've got we've got a production plan, we've got a marketing plan, we've got a sales plan, we've got, you name it, an IT plan, a research and development plan. This is where you give very short description of your plans.
You're saying we break it down here, basically.
Here?
Implementation plan is where we break it down. When you say cascade just now,
Yes,
we break it down into different levels.
that's right, yes. But you know, if you break this thing down, let's get there. This is easier. Very, very useful question. If I build my strategy plan with all the items that we describe here, then I will say, all right, in my business there will be marketing and sales. There will be sales. There will be a program for production. There will be a supply chain organization. There will be, because I will have equipment, there will be maintenance. All of these things will be headed by Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Miss ABC, etc., etc. We need names.
Oh wait, I just wanna. I think I missed this one. Names of titles or job titles.
Names.
Names. Oh, so that means we need to identify who is already part of our team.
Be very careful with the titles.
Oh,
You know, I meet a lot of people here. They give me card. They are director. Director. How many people meet? Oh, director of yourself. Well done. We are all directors. That's not the function that you described. You may describe the function, but most importantly, when you need to drag people in, they will look at who you get on board. Oh, this is my girlfriend, this is my other girlfriend, this is my daughter, this is my son. Good family, huh? I don't buy that. Who is the expert? Let's see later. Okay, see you next week. Come with some more. So we have a plan at each and every important part of the organization, but we cannot forget financial plan. Again, as I said this morning, budget and financial plan is one of these plans. That's why I left it for the last moment, financing. Financing is the plan that accompanies the rest. If I want to produce, I need cash. If I want to sell, I need cash. But I bring cash. This is the cost. This is the cost and the revenue. I'm not going to do accounting and financial thing, but all these things need to be explained clearly and simply. Again, the guys who read your documents probably read 10 of them per day. Especially if I'm the corrector, then I will have to read a lot of them. So make it simple for me, please. But not too simple, not simplistic. But make sure that this is something people can digest. Don't forget any of your functions or divisions and try to integrate all the things. Don't go too deep. You don't go to the workers are going to work 8 hours and 30 minutes per day. We don't care. They are going to work. You don't say I'm going to need 1,000 persons. Maybe you need only 500. But don't give these figures. They will ask. Once you get to the banker and say, okay, I like your plan. Can you be more detailed on this, that? Then you go for a second shot. Okay? When you ask your girlfriend or your boyfriend for a first date, you don't ask to marry immediately, right? Or if you do that, you're crazy. Okay? So don't marry too quick. It can be costly adventure. I've been married for years, so don't worry about it. Okay. We move on. We also need not to forget a very important part, which is that opportunities and risks. Because your strategic plan must see the future, the leading things. Don't say, I'm going to make a company to do this because there is a market for 6 months. You don't build a company for 6 months. You create a micro company to subcontract this there, and you sell that, and when it's finished, you close and you open another one. That's a butterfly company. So you don't need a strategic plan for an operation. Opportunities and risks. Risk analysis is important. What if something doesn't work? And then it translates also into your plans here. You need to put, if you have a plan, put a plan B. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, what do we do? Risk analysis integrates contingency plans. Okay, let's move on. These are the questions that I noted from my experience. In business plans, this is one of the things that I've been doing, I've been seeing all over my experience when I build or when I audit strategic plans with my clients. Okay, this is voluntarily spread over the place because I don't want to give more importance here or there. Okay, let's look at that. Market position, leadership, followership. Do we lead the market? Will we lead the market? Are we going to follow? Remember what this guy said, this intellectual said that actually Apple is not really an innovator. They innovate following a trend. They saw that there was a huge market because some people were distributing music on the net and said, I'm going to create iTunes, which was a fantastic platform. They killed almost everyone, but there were people doing this not as well as iTunes before them. They jumped into an existing thing. So they were creating things, and they were not really blue ocean. They were competing with an extra advantage because they had a lot of money and a lot of intellectual and creativity capabilities. So leadership, followership, trend, you have to show the trend. Market, existing market opportunities, supply chain, new market space, resources, what is the customer demand? Are we going to follow a trend, innovating step by step, like Toyota Corolla is moving up and up and up and up, but still always the same platform? Or are we going to create a new thing like the new Indian car, forgot the name, the little one that is cheap? That's innovation. Cost, competition, all these are the things we need to integrate into our brainstorming before we start that. Got it? Now, another thing is, I'll let you take notes, but don't worry, this is going to be with David probably tomorrow or Monday morning. So he should send that to you. What do we say, what we do not say? And that's a little clip.
Everyone, please think of your biggest personal goal. Okay, for real, you can take a second, you gotta feel this to learn it. Take a few seconds and think of your personal biggest goal, okay? Imagine deciding right now that you're going to do it. Imagine telling someone that you meet today what you're going to do. Imagine their congratulations and their high image of you. Doesn't it feel good to say it out loud? Don't you feel one step closer already, like it's already becoming part of your identity? Well, bad news, should have kept your mouth shut, because that good feeling now will make you less likely to do it. The repeated psychology tests have proven that telling someone your goal makes it less likely to happen. Anytime you have a goal, there are some steps that need to be done, some work that needs to be done in order to achieve it. Ideally, you would not be satisfied until you'd actually done the work. But when you tell someone your goal and they acknowledge it, psychologists have found that it's called a social reality. The mind is kind of tricked into feeling that it's already done. And then because you've felt that satisfaction, you're less motivated to do the actual hard work necessary. So this goes against the conventional wisdom that we should tell our friends our goals, right? So they hold us to it, yeah. So let's look at the proof. 1926, Kurt Lewin, founder of social psychology, called this substitution. 1933, Vera Mahler found when it was acknowledged by others, it felt real in the mind. 1982, Peter Gallitzer wrote a whole book about this, and in 2009, he did some new tests that were published. It goes like this. 163 people across 4 separate tests. Everyone wrote down their personal goal. Then half of them announced their commitment to this goal to the room, and half didn't. And then everyone was given 45 minutes of work that would directly lead them towards their goal, but they were told that they could stop at any time. Now, those who kept their mouth shut worked the entire 45 minutes on average, and when asked afterwards, said that they felt that they had a long way to go still to achieve their goal. But those who had announced it quit after only 33 minutes on average, and when asked afterwards, said that they felt much closer to achieving their goal. So, if this is true, what can we do? Well, you could resist the temptation to announce your goal. You can delay the gratification that the social acknowledgement brings, and you can understand that your mind mistakes the talking for the doing. But if you do need to talk about something, you can state it in a way that gives you no satisfaction. Such as, I really want to run this marathon, so I need to train 5 times a week and kick my ass if I don't, okay? So audience, next time you're tempted to tell someone your goal, what will you say? Exactly, well done.
That's a very important thing, and this is one of my mottos. When you write a business plan or strategic plan, okay, it's a shot. When you build a strategic plan or when you prepare a plan for anyone, you can say some goals, you can say the generic things, don't go too much into details. If you say too much, you will have more questions. If you give too much of explanations, you may give the feeling that you are not sure about what you do. Giving too many explanations almost means that you are trying to justify yourself. Not like the kid that says to his mom, well, I was not really hungry, but you know, I was really feeling weak, so that's why I ate all the chocolate. Well, you could have said that I ate all the chocolate. Explanation means justification. So a decent number of explanations, a decent number of goals, yes, but don't go too deep into the goals, into the description. One goal, 1 or 2 KPIs. One goal, 1 or 2 KPIs. Generic goals, strategic goals, a little bit of idea on the operation level, but not that many. Because if you give too many things, first of all, people can steal your idea. Second, you're going to be very boring, and you lose your time because people will not read the whole thing. That will come at stage 2 of your strategic evaluation, when people say, yes, I like your idea, I like your business plan, I like your strategic plan, let's refine the things there. At this stage of your experience, unless you have a fantastic experience with an existing company where you can describe all the things you did, in such case you can put your experience into your assessment, I recommend that you go deep enough but not too deep into the things. Because the more things you say, the more chance you have to say something stupid. Clear? Okay. Okay. What is important, and this is what the people reading your strategic plan will look at. First thing they will say, you talk to me because you need money. And as we say in Italian, no money, no honey. And in business, it's about the same. How high do you estimate your financial needs? What are the sales, costs, and profit situations? What are the most important milestones along the way to your goal? Well, milestones, talk to KPIs, right? Know what the milestone is? Yes? Okay. What test customer have you approached? Oh, that's interesting. You cannot say, I will have plenty of customers. Did you try the market? Have you some benchmark? Have you tested your product somewhere with an agent? What distribution channels will you use? And this is true for any business, including service business. What partnership will you like to enter into? What opportunities and risks, so we'll repeat a bit what you say, and what is your picture on patents? Because patent, know what patent is, or copyright, are very important aspects in your business. Because if you have a patent, you are protected. If you have a copyright, you are protected. If you are protected, it means people will not steal your thing. For example, why did I bring this book today? To prove that I've been reading it and I'm teaching about it. I'm not inventing that. I'm not saying that's my book. These guys are protected. If I say that's my ID, I would be in trouble very soon. Okay? So patent and this kind of stuff. Now, be very careful about that. Who is this guy? He's Super Crash. You know, he's the guy who came, we made it.
George W.
George W. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend you can do things when you know very well that you cannot do it. And don't do self-automatic conviction of yourself on things you do. Don't, if I say, I will run the marathon of Bangkok next year and I will win it, if I go home saying that to me every 30 seconds, I may be convinced that I will make it. But I probably will not make it. I may run the marathon, but I'm not sure, I'm quite sure I will never win. Okay, so don't lie to yourself on your business, on your objectives, on what you can achieve. Don't lie to stakeholders, because if you lie to them, they will lie back to you. And when you create the performance, or when you create a business plan or strategic plan, make sure that what you present is attractive to them, is creating value for them. Why should I work with you if it's just to please you? We are in business. I'm going to help you if there is something in it for me. This is the magic formula. You know that? What is in it for me? WIIIFM. What is in it for me? The guys will always ask themselves this question, or you this question. And finally, get your strategy alive and well. It means don't dream. You are going to create something. Make sure that what you create is real, and it's not some kind of phantasm. I want to be a pilot. I want to go on the moon. Yes, me too. Actually, I think I'm better on Earth than on the moon. Okay? We are done.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So I look forward to seeing you again soon. I think we had rushed a bit this afternoon because we had to cover most of these things. These elements will be with you, and that's quite important that you go with that. Try to read all the material. The material of your class on the net is quite okay. To me, I think it's too much on statistics and figures. You don't need all that. You need to make an effort on that because they like the research. I go on this net, this net. This is typical of professors. They like statistics. They like Excel sheets. Business people are more reluctant on that. Don't ignore them. Don't say you guys are crap because Didier said that. It's not going to work. But don't push too much on this. You are not the United Nations. You are not the government of your country that pays people, heaps of people to look for statistics. Make it real. And if you're real, go to the spot. Go to the point.
problem, this one, and we use